This conference will now be recorded.
All right. So, in the yesterday session, we happened to see what is a file, and then how do we create directories, and then how do we enter the data into the directory, right? So, how do we do all of that? We just saw in the last session. So, in today's session, we'll continue further on that. So, these are the files that we have here. Okay. So in Linux, we have something called as hidden files and directories. So to create a hidden file and directory, you need to put a dot in front of a given file or a directory name. So if you put a dot and say f4.txt, let's consider, then in that case, the file will be hidden. And we'll see how to list these files as well. So if you just run the command ls, right, it will display only the file name. Okay, it will not display any other attributes related to the file. But if you type in ls-l, it will display the file name and its attributes. Okay, like the ownership, the timing of creation or modification of a given file. All of that will display if you type in ls-l. But if you want to display the same data in a sorted order as per the timestamp, then you type in ls-lt. Okay. So LSFNLT will sort the files in terms of the timestamp. So when I run this, the recent file will be at the top, okay, and the older files will be at the bottom. All right. Now, if I want to reverse this order, then I have to put R. So let's say if you want the recent files to be at the bottom and then the older files to be at the top, then you can put an R there. So when I put an LSF and LTR, this will reverse the order. Okay, it will flip everything around, and then this will reverse the order. And you can see like F3, F1, and F2. Okay, so now you're not able to see the hidden file that we have created. Okay, that is f4.txt. So to view the hidden files, you put an A here. Okay, so when you put an A here, you can see the hidden file or a directory will be displayed. All right. So in this way, you can see the hidden files and directories. Okay, so that's the process. So ls is a command used to list the given files and directories. All right. So the next command that we'll see is how to copy a given file. So to copy a given file, the command is cp f1.txt/temp. So now if I do an lsf and ltr, so currently you are in testdir. Okay. But if you want to view the data in the temp, right, you can do an ls7ltr/temp. So in this case, the data in the temp directory can be viewed here. Okay, so lsfnltr/temp f1.txt. So this will display the data that's there in the temp directory. Okay, so you can see the f1.txt which is there under a testdir has been copied onto f1.txt. Another command that we have is move, which is used to move the file. So moving the file means like you're moving the file from one given directory to another given directory. So in that case, like f2.txt to temp. So here, if we run the same command, you can see that f2.txt has been moved to the temp. And in the current directory, f2.txt is not there. And after that, there is one more command here, wherein so move can also be used for renaming a given file. Okay, so if you do a move, let's say f1.txt, if you want to rename it to f100.txt, so in that case, move mv f1.txt to f100. So this will rename the given file from f1.txt to f100.txt. Okay, and if you do an lsf and ldr, the file has been renamed to f100.txt. All right. So move is a command which will allow you to rename a given file, but it's in the same directory. Okay, that's something that you should remember. And then there's another command called as rm, which is used to given a given file. So let's say if I do an rm 3.txt, so in that case, you can see the file has been deleted. Okay. Uh, so there is another command which is basically like rm-rf. So rm-rf also is used to delete a given file. So if you do an rm-rf dot f4.txt, so in that case, like the file will be deleted. You can see, sorry, let me put an A here. You can see f4.txt is gone. So in this way, the files can be removed by using these commands. Okay. So, and if you wish to delete a directory, then rm-rf is the same command which you can use to delete a given directory. So these are the various ways in which you can deal with directories. Okay. So now the next thing that we'll look at is how to create, how to change the ownership of a given file or a directory, and then the after that we'll look at how do we change the permissions for a given file or a directory. So these are two topics that we'll cover now. So for this, I will create a few more files here. Right. So to change the ownership of the current directory testdir, we did see this command earlier as well. The command is chown. Okay. So I'm putting a hyphen r here, or like hyphen r is not required because like the file is owned by u1 already. So I will change the ownership to a given different user altogether. Okay. So the user is ec2 hyphen user colon ec2 hyphen user and then followed by testdir. So currently the files inside this directory, okay, like these files are owned by u1 user and the group dev users. But now I'm changing the ownership to ec2 user and then the group ec2 user. So when I run this command here, it says operation not permitted. Basically, we have to use a sudo here. I forgot to do that. So I'm doing a chown hyphen r ec2 user and testdir. So here you can see the testdir ownership has been modified to ec2 user here. Okay. And then you do a testdir, and you can see here the ownership is now ec2 user for the files as well. So the difference here is if you just say chown ec2 user and the ec2 user and the testdir, what happens is it will only change the ownership of the existing directory what we have. Okay, that's testdir, but the files inside the directory still will be owned by the U1 user. But if you want to change the ownership of both testdir as well as the files inside the directory, then in that case you need to put that option hyphen r. So the reason for having that option hyphen r is it will basically recursively change the ownership of both the files inside the directory and the directory as well. That's the main purpose of it. So this is pretty much what we have in terms of the file, change ownership command. So now we'll look at how do we change the permissions for a given file. And one more thing, if I try to create another file here, okay, let's say like if I do an file f5.txt or let's say f7.txt, so it says permission denied. One second. Yeah. So the reason it's saying permission denied is because the directory is owned by EC2 user now. Okay. Earlier it was owned by U1 user, but now since it's owned by EC2 user, that's the reason it's denying the permission here. Okay. So now to create files and directories into this directory in the given directory testdir, we should be logged in as EC2 user. To do that, I'll do sudo su hyphen EC2 user, and then we'll be able to create the directory. You can see f7.txt. I was able to create it. Earlier, it was throwing an error, but now I'm able to create it successfully here. Okay. So this is the process of creating a given, I would say, a file or a directory, and this is how the permissions would affect. Okay, the ownership part I'm talking about. So any questions in this? Anyone? No? All right. So the next thing that we'll look at is the file permissions. So these file permissions are applicable to both directories as well as the files. So any given file or a directory will have three permissions: read, write, and execute. These are the three permissions. So if you guys remember the, I would say your binary notation that you might have come across in your undergrad. So there, so if you want to represent seven, right? Then in that case, you would, if you turn seven into a binary notation, it would be one, one, one. Three ones would represent seven. Okay. And if you want to represent four, then it would be just 100. So that's how the binary notation would work in case of I would say uh, like the conversion from decimal or I would say integer to binary, right? In that event, the binary notation would be like for 7 it would be triple one, for 4 it will be like 100, for 6 it would be 110. So this is how you can convert. Okay. So just for your understanding or just for like you can remember this blindly as well. Okay, you don't need to get into so much details. So for read, okay, for read it would be 4. Okay. For write it will be 2, and then for execute it will be 1. So basically, for read it is 2 to the power of 2. Okay. So or 1. If you say like 100, then it is 2 to the power of 2. Then it is basically like 400. You would get that. So for read it's 4, write it's 2, and then for execute it's just 1 there. Okay. So just remember these numbers blindly, it would be enough. Or like if you know the conversion, then it's well and good. Okay. So now you are having nine integers here. Okay, excluding the first character which defines, I would say it would identify whether it's a file or a directory or a soft link. Okay, so the first one represents whether it's a file or a directory or a soft link, but rest of the nine characters that you're looking at here represent permissions. So among these, the first three represent the permissions that a user which owns a given file or directory has. Okay. So in this case, this EC2 user is there, right? So this user, what permissions it has on a given file or a directory is identified by these three permissions here. So EC2 user has read and write on this given file or a directory. Okay. And then the next three characters are identified for, or the next three characters define the permissions for the group, okay, which owns the given file or directory. So in this case, the EC2 user is the group which owns the file or directory. So the EC2 user group has read permissions, okay, and the next three characters represents the file permissions for other users on the server. Okay, when I say other users on the server, it means that excluding the owner, which owns the given file, and excluding the users, which are a part of the group, which owns the given file, any other user on the server. Okay, what permissions that user should have on a given file or a directory is identified by the last three characters here. Okay, so this is how the representation is defined. So first is for owner, next is for group, and the last one is for other users on the given server. So that's the way the permissions are defined. So let me show you an example here. So if you do a sudo chmod, so chmod is a command which defines the permissions for a given file or a directory. So there are two ways in this as well. I'll tell you how we can define in two ways. So let's say you're saying like one second, not 644, 755. Okay. And then you're saying like fi.txt. So when you say 755, so 7 means like 1, 1, and 1. So 1 represents like you're giving the permission, 0 represents you're not providing the permission. So here, since 7 represents all permissions, right? You are seeing that the owner has been given with full permissions, read, write, and execute. And 5 represents 4, 0, and 1. So here, or you can say like 1, 0, and 1. So in this case, you're saying like so it like a read is provided which is representing 4, and then execute is not there. So execute, sorry, the write is not there for the group because we are not providing like the write permission there. So that's the reason it's just a dash there, and then execute, it's 1 again. So 4 plus 1 would be equivalent to 5. So that is the reason you're seeing like a read and execute permission for the group. And for others also, I'm providing read and execute. So let's say if I want to provide just the read permission. So if I do a chmod 400 and then fi.txt and do lsf and ltr, you can see everything is a dash only for the owner. Okay, I'm just providing read here. Okay, for others, we are not providing any permission. Okay, so that's the thing. And yeah, so this is how you can provide the permissions for the given user. So this is in the form of numbers. So I'll give you another example for numbers. So let's say if you want to provide 644, okay, fi.txt, then in that case, if you do an LSF and LTR here, you can see for the owner, since it's 6, right? So it's 4 plus 2. That represents 6, and then for execute you're not providing any permission. So here read and write, okay, and then dash, and for others and the group you're just providing 4 and 4 here. So which means it's read. So it's like a read for group and others. Okay. So there are no other permissions for the other file here. Okay. So in this way, like you can provide the permissions for a given user. Sorry, on a given file for the user group and the other users on the server. All right. So this is one method. The other method is, so if you do a sudo chmod, so for the current user, for the current file fi.txt, let's say, if I want to add execute for the group. Okay, so currently the group is just having a read here. Okay, if you see, I'm highlighting it. This 5.txt, for the group it's just a read there. So if I want to add execute the execute permission as well, then I would do a g plus x, and then for others also I want to add execute permission, then I'll do an o plus x. Okay, and then I'll do an fi.txt. So in this event, what happens is the for group the execute permission would be added. For others also the execute permission would be added. Okay. So now if I do an lsf and ldr, you can see that the for group x has been added, for others also x has been added. Okay. But let's say if I want to remove the write permission for the owner, okay, that's the first three characters among them. I want to remove the write permission, then this is the command that I have to use. So it's not mandatory that you need to specify user, group, and owner together every time. Okay, you can just provide either user or group and others, as you have seen earlier, or just the combination of all the three together you can provide, or just one of them you can provide. It's up to you. Okay, so you can modify the permission for user, group, and others independently. Okay, they are not mutually dependent on each other. All right. So here, if I want to remove the write permission, then u minus w. Okay, that's all. So if I run this and do an LSF and LDR, you can see that the w permission or the write permission that was there earlier for the fi.txt has been removed here. Okay, now it's just read there. All right. So any questions here, anyone?
Yeah, we never got the I think you said you were going to send us a document of all these commands and what they do. I don't think
Yeah,
you didn't
yeah,
send
wait,
that
wait.
to us.
One second. Okay, I will do that right away. I was about to send it at the start of the session, but like you didn't join, and I had to call the school for like whether you're coming to the session or not. So just a second, just give me a minute. I have your emails with me. Just hold on a minute, please. Just a second. And who's this Madhu P here? I haven't seen you earlier in the sessions. Hello.
I just came today to the class actually. I'm very new to this, but I'm trying to understand it. That's fine.
So you're through who? Like, is it Anjan Kumar or?
Yeah, Anjan referred
Oh,
me. Yeah,
okay, okay. Yeah, because I mean through Anjan, right? Many people are coming in and out, so I'm really confused. Like, who is joining?
no
So don't
problem.
mind.
You're good. It's fine. You're good. No problem.
Yeah, guys, just 2 minutes. I'm sending these people the material, so one minute. We're almost done. Just a minute, guys. Okay, Jude and Krishna, right, you both of you should be getting the email right now. So I sent an email to you, and others like you'll be getting the email or basically the material and the recordings through Anjan. Okay, so that's the thing. All right, guys, let's continue. So till now we have covered the file ownership and the file permissions. Okay. So next we'll look into the process of editing the files. Okay, like how do you create a file and then how do you edit the file, right? So how you add data to a given file. So we'll look into that. Okay. So to edit the data to a given file, right? So we saw how we can add data to a given file by using the echo commands. All right. So to further see through the other options, so we have something called as a VI editor in Linux. So to create a new file as well, you can use the VI editor. But only thing is like if you create a file, right? Let's say you do a VI, a file name. So let's say like F7 or F8 or TXT is the file name. So when you do an enter, it will open the prompt where we can enter the data. But the file will be created only when you enter the data and save the data. If you don't save the data, the file will not be generated. Okay, that is something that you should remember. Okay, so let me pull up some test data for our reference here. One second, I'm almost there. I'm getting some dummy data for our reference. So in Linux, right, anytime if you wish to paste anything, right, onto your Linux session, right, or anytime like if you copied something and then you're pasting it, right, you just need to press a right click. Okay. To copy also, you don't need to do Control C. You just hover over your like the mouse over that particular data that you're trying to copy. It will copy the data. Okay, so that you should know. So I've copied the data and then I'm to paste it, right? I'm just doing the right click. So you can see the data has been pasted here. All right. So currently, this data in a given file is, or the file that we are in right now is not in any mode. Okay. So here, if you want to get into insert mode, right, you press I on your keyboard. So when you press I, you are in the insert mode. Now here, let's say if I want to insert something, right, then I go to this section here, and I would say like test data, working with VIter. So in this way you can add the data. So generally, like when you are in insert mode, right, it's simply like you're navigating through the file. So you can, so if you want to remove the data, right, you can use backspace or delete. Okay, so let's say I'm here at the word practically. So I can simply use backspace or delete to remove the data. Okay. To insert the data, I can again type in practically. So it's just as you're using your notepad in Windows, right? You would be in that mode when you're in the insert mode in a given VI. So when you're in insert mode, at the bottom it will show you that you are in the insert mode. Okay. And to get into the insert mode, you press I on your keyboard. All right. So that's how you get into the insert mode and you can navigate through the data that's there in your file. So currently like you're in the insert mode. If you want to come out of insert mode and then if you want to switch to a different mode, right, then escape is the key which acts as a toggle. Okay, so if you're in a specific mode and if you want to come out of it, then you hit escape. So now I'm not in any mode. All right, so I can simply move up and down the through the file by using the up and down keys. But if you try to add any data, right, it will not allow you to add any data. Okay. So the reason being is like you're not in any mode. All right. So currently, like I'm here in this line, okay, where it says store all of your data. Now, let's say if I want to remove character by character, then in that case, I press X on my keyboard. So X, 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 and then you can just move the cursor to your and then X Y O U R. Okay, I have removed that. So in that way, if you want to remove character by character, you use X on your keyboard. Okay. Now, if you want to come out of that, just press Escape again. You're out of it. Now, let's say if you want to remove line by line. Okay, so in this file as well, you have added the data line by line. So if you want to delete the data line by line, right, you press D twice on your keyboard. So here you can see if I press D twice, it was removing that whole data there. So in this way, like you can add data, you can remove data. Okay, so that's something that can be done. All right, so this is the way you can remove and add data into a given file. So we saw like how we can insert, how we can remove character by character, and then how we can remove the data line by line. Okay, so to remove the data line by line, it's D twice. Okay, you should hit D twice on your keyboard, then it would remove the data line by line. Now to come out of that mode, you press Escape again. Then after that, let's say you're at use the best tool for the job, and that's the place where you are. Now, if you want to add the data to the new line, then just press O. So this will allow you to add the data to the new line. So when I press O here, it will it is basically getting you into the insert mode and the cursor shifted to the new line as well. Okay. So I would say like test data one and enter, you can add something else as well. Okay. So this is how you can uh, like add new data into the given file. Okay, by just pressing go, it will get the data, or like your cursor would shift to the new line. Now when you press escape again, you are out of the mode. Okay. Now after this, let's say you are at this word management. Okay, you're somewhere in the end of this word, and I'm trying to hit the right arrow, but it's not allowing me to do that. The reason is being is like I'm not in anymore. So let's say if I want to append the data from the place where my cursor is, in that case I need to press A. So when I press A, it will shift the cursor one character towards right, and then it will get you into the insert mode as well. So when I press A, you can see the cursor moved just one character towards the right, and you're in the insert mode too. Okay. And here, like you can add anything like test data again. You can add as much data as you want. Okay. So that's how you can like add data by using this append option. And apart from that, like if you want to search for a given string, okay, then how do you do it? So I press escape again, and so you are not in any mode right now. So the insert mode is gone. Now, if I want to search for a given string, then I use this forward slash, okay, and then let's say if I'm looking for the string Amazon in this given file. So I type in Amazon here. You can see wherever there's a match for Amazon, right? It's displaying the data to us. Okay. So in that way, you can search for a given string. All right. So let's say if you're looking for AWS, then just type in AWS. You can see there are so many matches for AWS here. Okay. So you would get the match for the string AWS here. All right. So those are the way you can like search for a given string. Now you can see this is the place where our searches, okay, or the current searches at the moment here. Okay. Now, if you want to navigate through all the searches for the string AWS, then you press N on your keyboard. So when I press N, your search is now here, okay, in the next line. So in this way, what it does is, if you keep on pressing N, it'll go to all the matches for AWS right from this place till the bottom of the file, and then it'll come back to the top of the file, and then it'll keep on displaying the search for the string AWS. So now when I press N here, you can see N. So it's going down and down. Okay. Now it says search at bottom, continuing at top. So now it continued at top. And if I press N again, it is now going through all the searches of the string AWS. In this way, like you can search for a given string, and this is pretty handy because in a given log file, right? Let's say there would be some generic errors that you would come across. So every error has a like specific code associated with it. So if you're looking for some specific code, right, then search for the code and it will return all the lines where, or like it will exactly search for the given code that you're looking at, and it will return the results for you. Okay, that's how it would be handy for you. All right. So that's the use case. So now I'm pressing escape and you're not in any mode right now. Okay. So let's say if you want to replace the string AWS with Amazon, okay, then how do you do it? So you saw that you have so many searches for the string AWS here. Okay. Now I would replace AWS with Amazon now. How do I do that? So excuse me. So to do it, I press escape again. Then you put colon percentile s. Okay. So this being displayed at the bottom of the screen here. Okay. Now you put the string which you want to like replace with. So AWS, I'm trying to replace it with Amazon. So I'm saying Amazon. Then slash G. G will like make this change globally across this file. So when I press enter, you can see that 22 substitutions on 12 lines were made. So wherever there was AWS, it has been replaced with Amazon. Now, if you try to search for AWS again, you will not find any search results because I replaced every string that was AWS in the given file to Amazon here. Okay. So you can see there are no matches for AWS. You are seeing an A everywhere, but if I put a W now, like you don't see anything here. The reason is I've replaced all the strings. Okay. So that's the purpose of it. And now I press escape again and I'm out of that mode. And the next thing is like if you want to identify the line numbers in a given file, right? Then how do you do that? So that is done through the I would say one second. Yeah. So to identify the line numbers, right? You do an escape colon set number. Okay, you type in set number. It'll populate all the line numbers on the left side of the screen. Okay. So in the given file, we are having 35 lines. So all the lines have been displayed. All right. So in this way, you can view the line numbers for a given file. So any questions on this so far, anyone? Are you guys able to follow here? Okay.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
I don't know whether this makes sense, but we have replaced one word with other word, right? Do we have any option that if we want to take it back?
Um, There may be option I have to check, but actually so basically VEditor has multiple options. Okay, so I never tried it out, but you can look out for that option. So I will also check and tell you. There may be an option to just like I would say roll it back. Okay, so there could be some option, but I have to check. Okay, that's the thing. So basically, this VEditor that you're looking at, right? This is having like I would say many different options to like play around with the text. So I just explained you a few of the options which I've been using on a very regular basis. And but if you want to know full-fledged about VEditor, just type in VEditor options in Google. You will get a lot of blogs associated with them where they'll be giving you various options for VEditor with some examples as well. Okay. So, but primarily, I pretty much explain like how to add data, remove data, replace data, search data. So these are basic stuff. But if you want to like know more about VEditor, then you can explore it by just going to Google and then search. Right, you will get a lot of information there. Okay. So this is pretty much about the VEditor, guys. So like basically our basic intent was how to like add or remove data from a given file. Okay, that's a basic intent. So we have done that. But if you want to more explore more, you can search for the options that are available in the API. So here, right, in this VEditor, basically like we saw how we added the data, but we didn't see like how we have to save the data. So to save the data that we have added just now, you press escape again and you do a colon WQ. So WQ refers to write and quit. Okay. So now when I do a WQ, it will basically save the file and it will quit as well. Okay. So that's the purpose of basically like write and quit to write and quit from the given file. But if you want to just like come out of the file, right? Just give Q there instead of WQ. Just give Q. It means that you're just quitting out of the file. You're not saving and quitting out of the file. So in that event, it will just quit out of the file, and then the data will not be saved into the given file. Okay. So this is how you can edit text into the given file. Okay, or add any data to an existing file. So anything can be done by using these steps. All right. So grep is another command which is basically used to search for a given string in a file. So if you do a grep, or let's say like if I'm doing a grep Amazon here, f8.txt, you can see it's not giving me any results. Okay. The reason for this is Amazon in the string in the file f8.txt, in that A is in uppercase. Okay. So if I just do A in uppercase in the first character of Amazon here, or the first character of the word Amazon, then in that case it will return all the results. Earlier it didn't return the results because A in the word Amazon was not in the uppercase, so it didn't find the exact match for the string. But since I gave the exact string, keeping in mind of the case sensitivity, then it returned everything to me. Okay, wherever there's a search for the string Amazon, it's able to return the results. But let's say if you wish to remove the case sensitivity out of this, out of the picture here, then you do -a and then -I, and then you search for the string Amazon. So when you run this, you can see that the search for the string Amazon has been returned here. Earlier, we didn't see anything. But since I added this -I option, it removed the case sensitivity and it displayed everything to us. Okay. So this is how you can search for a given string in a given file. So let's say if I do a grep -v-i f8.txt. So what this does is it will search for the lines, or let's say like it will search for the lines where there's no Amazon at. Okay. So -v will exclude the lines where it is having a match for Amazon, and it will print everything else. So when I run this, you're seeing very few lines here. So when you do a grep the string name, it'll search for the exact string. But if you do a -v, it'll exclude that string, and then it will search for the rest of the lines that are available in the given file. Okay. So that's how you can search for a string in a given file. There's another way around for this. If you do a cat f8.txt and then pipe grep hyphen, let's say -I Amazon. So what we're doing here is, by using the cat command, we are opening the given file. Okay. And then, so you saw when you did cat f8.txt, what it does, it will populate the whole data on the screen. Okay. Now, once the data is populated, or whatever is the output that comes out from the cat f8.txt, the output of the first command is passed as input to the second command, which is grep-i Amazon here. Okay. So in this event, what happens is the output of the first command is passed as input to the second command here. So that is done through this pipe symbol. Okay. So the purpose of the pipe symbol is to pass the output of the first command as input to the second command. That's the purpose. So now when I run this, you can see that you're able to see the data here. Okay. So that's how we can basically like navigate, or I would say like pass the input of a first command to the second command. All right. And The same thing, like you can try out the option hyphen V as well and do an Amazon. So here you can see you're able to see the results here. Okay. So this is the way you can search for a given string in Linux. Okay, by using the like just by doing a grep on a given file or opening the file and then doing the search by using this pipe symbol. So these are two methods. So now after this, we'll go through some commands which will display the data in a trimmed manner. Okay, so if you want to trim out some information, let's say like last 100 lines or first 100 lines, okay, in that way, if you want to view the data, then there are some commands related to them. So head f8.txt will return the first 10 lines of a given file. When I run this, it's returning the first 10 lines. But so this is a default, right? By default, it'll display the first 10 lines right from the top. And if I just put head hyphen 5, it display the first 5 lines only. Okay. If I put head hyphen 15 lines, it will display the 15 lines. All right. So in this way, if you want to view the data from the top of the given file, then you can use this head command to view the data right from the top. Okay, how many of the lines you want to view, you can view that. All right. Then there's another command called as tail. So tail will show us the data from the bottom. Okay, from the bottom of the file to the like how many lines you specify, you can view those data here. So if you do a tail f8.txt, it is now displaying the data from the bottom of the file here. Okay. So or if you say tail hyphen 5, it will display you the last 5 lines. So in this way, this tail command will display like any number of lines that you specify here, it will display those number of lines. Let's say if you want to just keep on monitoring the data that's coming into your file, right? Then in that case, you have to do a tail hyphen 5f or 100f or 500f, how many of a number of lines that you want to see in a given file, right? Then you can just do a tail hyphen 5f or 20f, okay? How many lines you want to view and the file name. So how it is helpful is, let's say in a given setup or in an actual scenario, right? What happens is you're having various logs in general. Okay, it can be an application log. Okay, a log associated with an application server or I would say like a Linux server as well. There'll be some logs which wherein the network information would be populated, or any information related to the activity on the server would be there. So in that event, if you are trying to monitor that file, okay, so you experienced some issue yesterday at a given time, let's say at 11:30 p.m. you came across some issue, okay, you don't know like what exactly went on at that time. So you can view the log, but still, like you want to see whether the same issue is recurring on the next day as well. So now you log in at let's say like 11:20 p.m. and then you want to monitor the log file, which will have all the information about the server. Okay. So and the data into the server would be written in real time. Okay. Like as and when like users like me, you, or any other user is accessing the server, or any application is running on the server, all the data will be accessed in, or all the data will be pushed to the logs in real time. So when I say real time, like the data will be keep on added. Okay. So if you want to view that real time data, right, then in that case, tail hyphen 5f will display the like it'll just display the last 5 lines at the time when you ran that command. Okay, but this hyphen f will keep on displaying the data. Okay, it'll keep on displaying the last 5 lines which are getting added and added as the time passes by. Okay, so this command or this hyphen f option is useful in monitoring a given log, I would say. Okay, so it'll help you to view the data in real time and then see what's going on in a given file. All right. So that's the use case of this. And to come out of it, as I said, like you can pass this user interrupt. Okay, Control C, you're out of this command here. So that's what this command tail does. So like it's similar to head, but this hyphen F option is something which comes in handy. Okay. Now there's another command called as more. So more is used to print the data page by page. Okay. So when I say page, right, this whole console that you're looking at, I'm trying to highlight it here. So whatever I've highlighted, this is your page. This is one single page that you're looking at here. Okay. So if I do a more fa.txt, so first you can see it's directly showing you 82% of the data. Okay. Now if I press enter, it'll slowly navigate the further data and you're at the end of the file. Okay. But if I do more fa.txt, now you are having 82% of the data. So if you want to view the data page by page, right, then you press space bar. So if I hit space bar now, it will come directly to the end of the file. You can see it came out. The difference in the earlier case and now is, in the earlier case, after I did more fa.txt, I pressed enter. So when you press enter, it will show you smaller chunks of data. Okay, or it will from 82% earlier, it showed you 83%, 87%, 90%, and finally end of the file. But if you press spacebar, it'll try to print the data page by page. Okay, so this whole page of information it will try to enter. So when I did more fa.txt, it already had printed 82% of the information. Now if I press spacebar again, it'll try to print the next page again. So in this case, like since we don't have much data here, it just came out directly because it has printed everything on the screen. So that's the difference. So if you want to view the data page by page, use space bar on your keyboard, or if you want to view data slowly, then you press enter. Those are the two options that you have. So this is pretty much similar to the cat command as well. So cat command, more, all of these, right? They print the complete data on the screen. Okay, they'll populate the data completely on the screen as and when you are trying to view the data. But editor, you saw like as we entered the data, it was there on the screen. But when I close the editor, it's gone. Okay, you don't see the data again. Okay, you have to use the cat command to view the data. But and more also pretty much does the same job as cat. But only thing is it will display the data page by page. Now there's another command called as less. So less is similar to your editor. Okay, it is not similar to more. So if I do a less f8.txt here, so you can see that I can go back and forth. It has hit end of the file. So you can see at the bottom it says end. Now if I go up, you can see that you're seeing the original data. So initially less command also will display the full page of information, and then you can go back and forth or like up and down by using the up and down arrows. Okay. Now you can go up as well. And so in this way, like you can move up and down through the page. Now if you want to come out of this, you press Q. So nowhere in like your head, tail, or more or less commands you can edit any data. You can just view the data as per your wish. Okay. Let's say like by using a combination of head and tail, you can view like line number 20 to line number 30. You can view those 10 lines only. Somewhere, some data from the middle of the line, middle of the file can be picked up and viewed. Only that section of data can be viewed. So in that way, you can use a combination of these commands and view the data as well. All right. So these are some options that we have. And apart from this, so there's another command called as word count. So if you do a cat f8.txt pipe, WC stands for word count. If you do a word count -L, this will display like how many lines you have a given file. And then word count -W will tell you like how many words you have in this given file. and word count hyphen c will tell you like how many characters that you have in the given file, and word count hyphen m will return how many bytes that are occupied by the given file. So if you do an LSF and LTR, sorry, hyphen c is characters and then hyphen m is bytes. Sorry, my bad. Hyphen c is bytes, hyphen m is characters. So I get confused in these options. So I think you should be knowing this. Like generally, one character occupies 1 byte, and then one integer occupies 4 bytes. So this is something that you might have come across in your undergrad if you're an electronics student. Like any, if you've done engineering in undergrad in electronics background or computer science, right? They'll tell you like how much each string or each character or each integer, okay, or let's say a decimal or floating number, how much size it occupies, right? You will come across in those cases. So generally, like characters, they occupy 1 byte, okay, and then integer it occupies 4 bytes, and then I think the decimal or a floating number, right? It will occupy 8 bytes. So in that way, like every like component or every character or word, right? They have different sizes. So you can get that information in Google as well. So just type in, so you will find that information. Okay. So fine, guys. I'll stop the session here today. Okay. So we have some more topics to cover as well in Linux. So probably we'll wrap it up tomorrow or day after tomorrow. But day after tomorrow we'll be done with Linux. Okay. So any questions, anyone? Yes, no. All right. Fine, guys. So we'll connect back tomorrow at the same time, and then we'll continue the session. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Ram.
Yeah, Mother, tell me.
I just want some previous class regarding this. Is it possible for you to send or share with me?
Yeah. So please touch base with Anjan. Okay. So so generally I'm sharing the recordings to Anjan, and he'll be forwarding it to you. Okay.
No
That's
worries.
it.
I'll talk to him. Yeah. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
the information.
So I'll
Yeah.
send it to Anjan now. Okay. As
No
and
problem.
when,
No problem.
so you can talk to him and get the recordings. Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys. We'll catch up tomorrow.